Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Canto 6, Chapter 1. I'm going to request Another Maharaj to read the translation and purport. The purport is 3 pages. We probably read half.
Please repeat after me. Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ. Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Mataji.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Kecit kevalayā bhaktyā.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Agham dhunvanti kārtsnyena.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Nīhāram iva bhāskaraḥ.
Synonyms. Everybody please repeat after me. Kecit.
Kecit.
Some people.
Kevalayā
bhaktyā.
Kevalayā bhaktyā.
By executing unalloyed devotional service.
By executing unalloyed devotional service.
Vāsudeva. To Lord Kṛṣṇa.
Lord Kṛṣṇa.
The all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Parāyaṇāḥ. Completely attached. Only to such service. Without dependence on austerity. Penance. Cultivation of knowledge. Or pious activities. Agham. All kinds of sinful reactions. Dhunvanti. Destroyed. Kārtsnyena. Completely. With no possibility. That sinful desires. Will revive. nīhāram,
nīhāram, fog,
iva,
iva,
light,
bhāskaraḥ,
the sun.
the sun.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. Purport. In the previous verse, Sukadeva Goswami gave the example that the dried leaves of creepers beneath a bamboo tree may be completely burnt to ashes by a fire, although the creepers may sprout again because the root is still in the ground. Similarly, because the root of sinful desire is not destroyed in the heart of a person who is cultivating knowledge, but who has no taste for devotional service, there is a possibility that his sinful desires will reappear. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Text 4, Seyashitim bhaktim udashyate vivo klishyanti ye kevalayā bodhanabdaye. Speculators who undergo great labor to gain a meticulous understanding of the material world by distinguishing between sinful and pious activities, but who are not situated in devotional service, are prone to material activities. They may fall down and become implicated in fruitive activities. If one becomes attached to devotional service, however, his desires for material enjoyment are automatically vanquished without separate endeavor. Bhakti parsulubhavo viraktir anyatra cha. Srimad Bhagavatam 11 Canto, Chapter 2, Text 42. If one is advanced in Krishna consciousness, material activities, both sinful and pious, automatically become distasteful to him. That is the test of Krishna consciousness. Both pious and impious activities are actually due to ignorance, because a living entity, as an eternal servant of Krishna, has no need to act for his personal sense gratification. Therefore, as soon as one is reclaimed to the platform of devotional service, he relinquishes his attachment for pious and impious activities and is interested only in what will satisfy Krishna. This process of bhakti, devotional service to Krishna, vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ, relieves one from the reactions of all activities. Continue. Since Maharaj Parikshit was a great devotee, the answers to his guru, Sukadeva Goswami, concerning Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda could not satisfy him. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami, knowing very well the heart of his disciple, explained the transcendental bliss of devotional service. The word kecit, which is used in this verse, means a few people, but not all. Not everyone can become Krishna conscious. As Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 3, Manusyanam sahasresu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam vidi tattvata. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Practically no one understands Krishna as he is. Practically no one can understand Krishna as he is, for Krishna cannot be understood through pious activities or attainment of the most elevated speculative knowledge. Actually, the highest knowledge consists of understanding Krishna. Unintelligent men who do not understand Krishna are grossly puffed up, thinking that they are liberated or have themselves become Krishna or Narayana. This is ignorance. To indicate the purity of bhakti, devotional service, Srila Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu,
it's a very powerful purport, everyone should hear it carefully.
1:11 Anya vilasita sunyam dhyana karmadhyanapritam
Anukulyena Krishnano Srilam Bhakti Uttama.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 167. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami further explains that bhakti is kleshagni subhadha, which means if one takes to devotional service, all kinds of unnecessary labor and material distress cease entirely, and one achieves all good fortune. Bhakti is so powerful that it is also said to be moksha labhutakrit. In other words, it minimizes the importance of liberation. Non-devotees must undergo material hardships because they are prone to commit sinful, fruitive activities. The desire to commit sinful activities continues in their hearts due to ignorance. These sinful actions are divided into three categories: pataka, mahapataka, and atipataka, and also into two divisions: prarabdha and aprarabdha. Prarabdha refers to sinful reactions from which one is suffering at the present, and aprarabdha refers to sources of potential suffering. When the seeds, bija, of sinful reactions have not yet fructified, the reactions are called aprarabdha. These seeds of sinful action are unseen, but they are unlimited, and no one can trace when they were first planted. Because of prarabdha, sinful reactions that have already fructified, one is seen to have taken birth in a low family or to be suffering from other miseries. When one takes to devotional service, however, all phases of sinful life, including prarabdha, aprarabdha, and bija, are vanquished. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, chapter 14, text 19, Lord Kṛṣṇa tells Uddhava, Yatagnisu samdadrichi karoti idam si bhasmasha tata bhakti saya bhaktir udaivanam sivitasnasa. My dear Uddhava, devotional service in relationship with me is like a blazing fire that can burn to ashes all the fuel of sinful activities supplied to it. How devotional service vanquishes the reactions of sinful life is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Text 6, 33rd chapter, in a verse spoken during Lord Kapiladev's instructions to his mother, Devahuti. Devahuti said, Yanna Mateya Sravananu Kirtana Yat pravanatya smaranat api kecit sadhopi satya svanaya kalpate kuta punaste bhagavan darshana. My dear Lord, if even a person born in a family of dog eaters hears and repeats the chanting of your glories, offers respect to you and remembers you, he is immediately greater than a brahmana and is therefore eligible to perform sacrifices. Therefore, what is to be said of one who has seen you directly?
Om Yam Simanandasya Jnananjana
Kṛṣṇa Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha
Shri Chaitanya
Manobhishtam Sthapitanyena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaryam Kadavishva Padantikam
Jai Shri Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vāsudeva Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
kecit kevalayā bhaktyā vāsudeva-parāyaṇāḥ aghaṁ dhunvanti kārtsnyena nīhāram bhaktyā. The foreword has one more page to go. So this is a very important and famous verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The verse is being spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. The background to this verse is as follows. In the 5th canto, Krishna Maharaj heard a description of the hellish planets. How many of you have read the Bhagavatam, hellish planets? So when you read the description of the hellish planets, you can really visualize the reaction that's going to come to all the nonsense activity that we are doing. People sometimes get so scared and drop the Bhagavatam and they read that. So Krishna Maharaj, however, was a devotee of the Lord. When devotees are compassionate, they chit for tat, they try to save everybody. When Krishna Maharaj heard the consequences of sinful activities and how people have to suffer in the hellish planet. Say, for example, someone gets elected to a position of power and he misuses it, like what politicians do today. They get elected by manipulation and then they misuse it. What happens to death after that? What happens to death after death? They are squeezed through a machine, like a sugarcane is squeezed through, to extract juice, then they faint. This is the punishment for someone who says, I will protect you, give me a vote. And then he uses that to commercialize. So the laws of nature are indeed very strict. But many of us think, oh, God is very kind. He's not looking at me. The Lord is looking at everyone. So Krishna Maharaj was concerned, how can people be saved from going to the hell? And further Krishna Maharaj said, I also don't like that people sin and atone. They commit sinful activities. And then they say, okay, now I'm going to atone. What am I going to do to atone? I'm going to go to the church and apologize. I'm going to go to the mosque and apologize. When I go to Hindu, I'm going to go to the next Kumbh Mela. I go to Kumbh Mela, take a dip, just like the other Kumbh Mela recently. Millions took dip. So they must have thought, now I've washed away my sins. Now I have a new license. It's like you take a loan from a bank, pay it off, then you become eligible for new loans. So, that is called sinning and atoning. I do something wrong with the expectation, I'm going to atone. Then God will have to pardon me. So, this is not good. And he gave an example. An elephant takes a bath in a lake. When the elephant takes a bath, he naturally becomes clean. But then the moment he comes out of the lake, what does he do? Sits in the mud. He becomes dirty. So Parikshit was saying, please instruct me how we can cleanse the heart. In other words, superficially, we may atone. What's the value? Unless you clean your heart, that sinful tendency will not cease. So Parikshit wanted to know, please tell me how can the sinful tendency be cultivated, be corrected. The way Supreme Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj are having this dialogue for our benefit. It's not that Parikshit Maharaj himself was in any type of ignorance. But Parikshit Maharaj knew that in future people will have this mentality, this life. When Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die, if he wanted to, he could have counteracted that curse. After all, he was saved in the mother's womb. But he took this as a blessing in disguise. And this gave the Lord an opportunity to speak the Bhagavatam and present the highest truth for our benefit. So Shukadeva Goswami is replying in response to inquiries made by whom? What does Shukadeva Goswami say? Only a rare person who has adopted unalloyed devotional service can uproot the weeds of sinful action. So, a rare person who is taken to unalloyed devotional service. Once a reporter in Australia asked Prabhupada, your Krishna consciousness is so perfect, why isn't the hall fully packed? It wasn't fully packed. Prabhupada said, we are selling diamonds, but if you will buy. We are selling imitation diamonds, you can manage. So, this is a real diamond. So, not everybody will take to it. And it's not that we are not aware of it. When Prabhupada came to the West, he was being induced by the so-called Swamis to water down the philosophy. But he refused to water it down. Even though he had struggled for a year, and before that he struggled in India. So Shukadeva Goswami is saying, only a rare person will take the pure devotional service. And Shukadeva Goswami is saying, only a rare person will take the pure devotional service. And he quotes that famous word on the Bhagavad Gita, Manusharanam, out of thousands, millions Prabhupada said. Prabhupada said about 1,000, 5,000 years ago. Now it's millions. Now the millions, one will try to understand me. And out of such millions, only one will really understand me. The word used here is kecit kevalayā bhaktyā. Only a rare person. So those who do embark on this path are indeed very fortunate. It's a rare person, but he decides, I am not going to go to the miseries of birth and death. I have a better alternative. So only a rare person takes to unalloyed devotional service. What does unalloyed devotional service mean? It means unmotivated devotional service. Vāsudeva had compiled the vast Vedic literature, but still he was feeling as if there's something lacking in his contribution. And as he was meditating as to what could be the cause, now the Muni appeared on the scene. And he said, the main cause of your dissatisfaction is you have not presented the path of pure bhakti. And that gave birth to the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the opening verses it is said, aghaṁ kalpa garor kalidam padam. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is ripened fruit itself. But this is the essence of all, the most important of all. And this knowledge is coming down to us through disciplic succession. Prabhupada gives the example. If a mango fruit is passed down from the top of the tree to the bottom through different individuals in different branches, then by the time the tree fruit reaches the ground, it will be intact. But if on the other hand, the fruit is thrown from the top, then by the time it hits the ground, it will be shattered into pieces. He was a young boy, wanted to avenge himself, went to perform austerity with the hope that he would have a kingdom more often than the grandfather, great-grandfather. But he got such great pleasure in worshipping the Lord. When he was offered up a benediction, he said, I was looking for broken glass, now I found a diamond. So I don't want it. So the point is, that even if you embark on the devotional path and motivation, you can get purified if you execute sincerely. Now over here, Prabhupada is making very important points in the purport. And in the previous verse, Supreme Goswami has said, a tree may get burnt, but as long as the root of the trees are there below the earth, what will happen? It will grow again. If you don't want the tree to grow again, what do you have to do? Uproot. Like you go forward to a doctor. A good doctor cures your disease, but he lets you, he also takes away the cause of the disease. A good doctor doesn't say, okay, your disease is cured, let the cause remain. So, the tree may get burned, but if the roots are still there, what will happen?
You grow again.
Okay. The Supreme Personality said, what is the value of this? The tree may grow, may be burned, but when the roots are there, it will again grow. So he wanted to know, how can the root be cleansed? And what's the answer? The root being cleansed means the heart being cleansed. We may temporarily stop something, but as long as the heart is still contaminated, it will bounce back into those activities. So, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, unless the sinful desire is not uprooted, the tendency to stop sinful activity will not succeed. And how do you cleanse the heart? Chetadarpan, Amanbhava. To cleanse the heart by Shanipala. Now, Prabhupada again continues in the purport and talks about sinful actions. And you remember Prabhupada purport said, Pataka, Mahavataka, and Adipadaka. Divided two divisions, Prabhupada and Prabhupada. In summary, it means the following. Prabhupada means sinful reaction, the result of which you are suffering at the moment. And Prabhupada means not incarnate yet, we will follow. Now many times people say, this boy was born handicapped. He didn't even do any sinful activity. Why did that happen? Someone passes away. And people say, why did he pass away? And sometimes you see someone is born with a silver spoon, and someone is born in a disastrous condition. Why does this happen? Is there some law? Is there some logic? Is there some rational thought? Or it's a lottery ticket? The computer picks out, oh, he goes into Bill Gates' family. He goes into power. Is everything by chance? Is everything by chance?
No.
Doesn't make sense. Nothing is by chance in the material world. It's not that you get promoted on a job, the computer picks up a lucky number. You get promoted, you have performed. That's like it says, for every action is a reaction. So Prabhupada is explaining this point. The means activities for which you are suffering at the moment. It's not that if you perform a sinful activity today, the result is going to manifest tomorrow. Many times people say, this guy is doing so much nonsense for such a long time, how come he is still scot-free? And I am following all the laws and all, and I have to undergo punishment. When people ask that, so what is the answer? The answer is, if you are scot-free today, you're not going to be scot-free tomorrow. We may be enjoying the results of our past pious activity, but that duration is limited. Just like it is said, the plane may fly, but before the fuel runs out, it has to descend. So similarly, we all have a history of pious and impious activity. In essence, it is also known as the law of karma. And some activities, results are being experienced now. And some are like dormant, but will be realized in the course of time. So that is important to understand. Some activity results are being felt now, some will be felt with the passage of time. So what is the answer? We are not interested in pious or impious activity. We are interested in going beyond the modes. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ease. Even if you are in goodness, there is still competition between the modes. But what is recommended is, for beyond goodness, come to pure devotional service or this. So what is being explained here? We are not interested in pious or impious activities. Our real interest is in taking the path of pure devotional service. What is the characteristic of pure devotional service? On the path of pure devotional service, we want to serve the Lord, but without any motive. Someone may say, I can't be expected to be unmotivated. I come from such a contaminated background, and living in the modern day world, we can't expect that everyone's going to have instantly be a pure devotee. Is that right? What's the answer? The answer is yes, you may not be completely pure, but we embark on the platform of devotional service, and you can gradually get purified. The process is the process of purification. Krishna bhakta niskama ataiva mukti siddhikami kaliyachanta. When it takes to the path of unmotivated devotional service, he will always be peaceful. So, the sinful seeds are in the heart. In the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna questioned, why is one compelled into sinful acts, even unwillingly? I know this is right, this is wrong. I still know what's wrong. Why did this happen? And what did Krishna say? In last only, the all-devouring enemy of the living entity, which is always burning like fire, and is never extinguished. If you have fire, and you keep pouring butter, is the fire going to be ignited or put off? Flames are going to get hot. So Krishna says, he's identifying what is the enemy. Then he said, where this enemy can be located? Where? Mind, intelligence, and Krishna identifies the enemy. Just like if he was looking for a criminal, terrorist, you identify. He's somewhere in Atlanta. But that's not enough. You need to go a step further. Where in Atlanta? North, south, east, west. Krishna says, the mind, the intelligence, and the senses are the sitting place of the enemy known as lust. But that's not the end of the story. Krishna tells you how to destroy this enemy, how to find this enemy. In the very scripture you see, the problem gets identified, then the solution gets identified. In the material world you may identify the problem, but not the solution. Krishna gives you the solution. Krishna says, with a weapon of knowledge, destroy the eternal enemy. So when we read the Srimad Bhagavatam, when we read those scriptures, what do we get? We get knowledge. We are very anxious to cultivate mature knowledge. And in the mature world we see, people never stop studying. They have so many degrees, still they want to pursue. Isn't it? But spiritual education, we don't seem to value. We don't think spiritual education is important. Krishna says, with the weapon of knowledge, destroy the eternal enemy. The weapon of knowledge means knowledge that we hear in the Bhagavatam, knowledge that we hear in the Gita, knowledge that we study in these books. Prabhupada labored hard to produce these books. Why? Because these books contain transcendental knowledge. Prabhupada initially in India, before he came to the West, he translated the Srimad Bhagavatam for his Kindle in 3 volumes. And after that was translated, he felt that he had the emanation to come to the West. And then he came to the West with 200 sets, the first Canto. Emanation to present our philosophy. And then he started preaching. So, Papa was able to convince everyone on the basis of transcendental knowledge in the books. If the books were not there, we doubted if anybody would have known. But these books gave philosophy, explained by the Acharya. Just like we are now reading the 14th verse of the first chapter. But in the first 14 verses, the same point is being made again and again. Krishna Maharaj said, "Please describe to me how the sinful tendencies can be uprooted. Please give me the path of pure bhakti. Please save me from repeating sinful activities." He wants to know. And Srila Goswami explains kecit, kevalayā, bhaktyā. Only to the path of pure devotional service can the sinful tendency be uprooted. Now when you talk about pure devotional service, how is the pure devotional service executed? How? How is it executed? Starts with the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam and Kirtanam is the beginning. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the all-merciful incarnation, presented this very simple path. Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalayā. They're chanting the holy name. What do they do? It has many things. One of them is it cleanses the heart. It cleanses the heart, takes away the dirt that is manifested through the medium of lifestyle of greed, etc. And it has been practically experienced. Those who sincerely chant tenderly, their dirt begins to get cleansed. Prabhupada, when he opened the first temple in New York, he told the devotees, just chant Hare Krishna. And the devotees chanted. And after a few days, he came to Prabhupada and said, Swami, don't you want us to follow some rules? But they had cleansing of the heart. So this chanting results in the cleansing of the heart. Now, Supreme Goswami gave the example. The sun, there is fog. How do you get rid of fog? When does the fog disappear? Have a lot of fog in Atlanta. Many of foggy around. So the fog, how does the fog disappear? When the rays of the sun begin to get manifested. So Sukadeva Goswami uses this example to show that as we discharge devotional service, the sinful tendency in the heart begins to get corrected. The pure devotional service is the answer to all our queries. And from the beginning, first canto to the 12th canto, Sukadeva Goswami is focusing on what? Pure devotional service. Unfortunately, in the present day environment, pure devotional service is not so appealing. That's why Sukadeva Goswami said, we are a rare person. He himself is using the word rare because he knows that everyone is not going to take to it. What do most people want? What do most people want? They just want any religious process. That's what they say. That's not going to give any results. They say in the business language, you get what you pay for. Is that true? You get what you pay for. What you pay one price and pick up anything in the store. In $1, $1 store you may, not anywhere else. You get what you pay for. So that's why Krishna said, aghaṁ. All of them descended me. Very well understood. And the question is, what is pure devotional service? And as we explained, it is unmotivated devotional service. And what is pure devotional service? How do you realize pure devotional service? In Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha is very important to cultivate pure devotional service. Now, in the Bhagavatam, Narada Muni explains, one can possibly have 3 levels of association. When we talk about devotee association, one question that people bring up is, what do you mean by devotee? Are all devotees on the same level? Or is there any distinction? So Narada Muni explains it to Maharaj that you can possibly associate at 3 levels. I'm sorry. You possibly associate at 3 levels. Associate with those who are more advanced, equally advanced, and less advanced. How do you react when you associate, when you have the privilege to associate with something more advanced? The Bhagavatam says, one becomes joyful. An example cited is the peacocks. When they see the clouds for the first time, they dance in ecstasy. Don't ask me why. I don't have the answer. But the Bhagavatam says, the peacocks, when they see the clouds for the first time, they dance in ecstasy. Similarly, an individual, when he meets somebody more advanced, he becomes joyful. When you meet somebody equally advanced, what do?
Friendship.
Make friendship. Not exploit, but make friendship. Friendship in spiritual life means we work together to serve the Lord. And if you meet somebody less advanced, what do? You display compassion. So, if we are fortunate to associate with those who are on the pure path, then you get the pure message. And you will try to follow the pure message. Prabhupada says, this Krishna conscious movement was formed to facilitate 6 rasas among devotees. What are the 6 rasas among devotees? Giving charity, accepting charity. Revealing your mind to those who are more advanced, and taking instruction. Serving prasad. So the first is give charity and accept charity. So you may say, what do I have to give in charity? I'm a pauper. Even if you're a millionaire, you pretend you're a pauper. So, what do I have to give in charity? The most devotees would not have much. So Prabhupada explains, we have to, in charity, give the philosophy, the glory of chanting the holy name. Explain how, when chanting the holy name, one may make spiritual advance. So give in charity, the holy name. We go and hurry now. We can present the books and we receive in charity. What do we receive in charity? In charity we receive some donation, something achieved. Then what else? Reveal your mind to those who are more advanced. We are hungry to seek knowledge. But knowledge has to be obtained from the right source. You don't catch anyone on the street and say, I have some pain, can you do some surgery? You would not qualify for it. Reveal your mind to those who are more advanced. And take instruction. There's no point in revealing your mind if you're not going to take instruction. Prashad and Prashad. So Prabhupada said he formed the ISKCON society to facilitate these 6 rasas among devotees. So our goal is to embark on the path of pure devotional service. And Prabhupada in the purport quotes Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was a very learned devotee of the Lord. He at one time was serving virtually as the Prime Minister of the richest kingdom of the world. But his heart was not there. So he resigned, and Lord Chaitanya's order proceeded to Vrindavan, where he performed 3 major activities. Wrote books on devotional service, identified places where the Lord had performed his pastime, and who knows the third one? Built temples. He did these things. The Rupa Goswami's books should all be studied. My Prabhupada translated 2 of his books, which are the 2, Nectar Devotion and Nectar of. So Prabhupada is quoting this famous verse, Jnana Vilasata Sunyam, Jnana Karma Niyamatam, Nupanina Krishna, Lala Bhaktīsman. One should render devotional service to Lord without desire of material gain or profit. Now someone may say, I hear these things every day in the class. It's not that you're revealing some rocket science here today. You're hearing for the first time. You've heard that thousands of times, am I right? So, what is the cause? Why does it take time to take effect? Because you're heavily contaminated. Our heart, as Prabhupada used to say, is more black than a piece of coal. Imagine, how dark coal is. So we need to hear everything on a regular basis. That's why it is said, Nasta Praesha Vadeshu Nityamavasya Bhagavati Shloke. He doesn't say, hear the Bhagavatam once and that's it. In India they have the Bhagavad Saptas, where people recite the Bhagavatam for 7 days. So, just if we hear the Bhagavatam for 7 days, then stop hearing. That's not going to be the answer. You need to hear the Bhagavatam every day, chanting the holy name. It's not that you chant for a few days and then take a break. You keep chanting every day. If we take the spiritual medicine on a regular basis, it will also give us pleasure. Just like one of the gains of chanting the holy name is, what's one of the gains? Cleanses your heart. Another gain is, Anandamoli Vardhana gives you unending spiritual happiness. So, to execute the path of devotional service, we need to make an effort. Just understanding the philosophy, or listening to the philosophy once, is not the end of the road. It's only the beginning. We need to practice on a regular basis. We need to avoid the obstacles. Rupa Goswami says, do's and don'ts. He says, avoid what is undesirable. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami, accept what is favorable and reject what is
Unfavorable.
So, the devotional knowledge will sprout and cleanse the heart only if we execute the process on a regular basis. on a weekend basis. If we do it on a regular basis, then the heart will be cleansed. So to summarize, Sukadeva Goswami is replying to the inquiry, how can one cleanse the heart? And Sukadeva Goswami said, only a rare person will take the path of unalloyed devotional service. And such a rare person can do it under shining devotional service. And the example is fog, which disappears when the rays of the sun become manifested. So, we know the goal, we know the medium. What is lacking is our effort. So we have to make the effort. And if we associate with devotees, read and chant regularly, that is the effort. And then if you make the effort, then what happens? Then what happens? The heart begins to get cleansed, the roots get plucked out. When the roots are taken out, then you have nothing to worry. But if the roots are there, then the sinful tendency will manifest again. You stop on one day, and you start again. So our real goal is to uproot the roots. And that can be done by the execution and aspiring to render pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means unmotivated devotional service. In essence, it means engaging the body, mind and senses in service to the Lord. If we become slave of these senses, if we become slave of our mind, then it will be like an unbridled horse. If you are sitting on an unbridled horse, what will happen? What will happen?
Take it away in wrong directions.
You get thrown off the horse at any time. That's what it means, sitting on an unbridled horse. So similarly, on the devotional path, if we don't take all the precautions, if we don't execute with determination, then any time we can be deviated from the devotional path, he'll be back in Maya's kingdom. So we have to make a concentrated effort, avoid the pitfalls, and on a regular basis, chant in here. Then you are assured. So, Bhagavatam is emphasizing these points again and again. So we need to attentively hear and execute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I left time for questions. I thought you may have questions.
Water.
Any questions?
Yeah. The word pure devotional service, why is there so much stress on pure? Devotional service itself, he said, is pure, right? Why is Prabhupada again and again telling us pure?
Good question. When devotional service is also very impure, motivated. I want to serve only because I want this expectation. I will serve when I get this benefit. So, what pure is emphasized to identify what is pure, what is impure. That's like you come from India, so you go in India, then you buy medicine. Don't you say, is it original or duplicate? Years ago in America, they had the $100 bills in circulation which were pumped in. Any shop you would go with $100 bill. They had a machine. They would check, is this a real? So, we live in a world where you are exposed to real and false. So pure emphasizes pure bhakti. And we don't hide it. Like if anybody wants to join the ISKCON movement, we clearly tell them what our movement is. Our books are very clear. In many organizations, you You can get initiated instantly. But in ISKCON, it's a long process because you want everyone to understand the philosophy first. If you always remember, you get what you pay for. Yes.
Maharaj, in the purport it mentioned that in the last sentence that was read was bhakti minimizes importance of liberation.
I'm sorry. Where are you reading from?
In the purport, I think
Okay, just repeat what you said.
bhakti minimizes importance of liberation.
In other words, liberation is there. Once you come on the path of pure bhakti, liberation doesn't appear attractive at all. In that state, you just want to serve God. Doesn't matter. They go to hell or heaven. Narayan Pada Sarve, Nakusana Viviti, Swaragapur and Narkesha, Avitya Salash. He is devotee of the Lord, doesn't care whether he's going to heaven or hell. He just wants to serve. And liberation is still conditional. Of course, that's a very high stage. It takes a little time to attain. But it may take a little time to attain, but the scriptures clearly identify the path. Yeah. Actually, there are very few preachers and movements on the planet that talk about pure devotional service. Most holy men, even in India. Like I was at the Kumbh Mela recently, and I went to these different booths. I always do that to hear what they're saying. And they all had the same. Only for them was, I think, pure devotion. When we read Prabhupada's books, from beginning to end, the theme is clear. Is that right? Okay, more questions?
Thank you for a nice class.
No question? We don't know the next question.
Yes, ma'am. One question I was thinking of was, what about different religions where maybe they're doing something pure, not exactly pure devotional service, but they're like maybe not Christianity, but maybe something more related to devotional service and maybe not that pure? What would you say, like in terms of sinful reaction? Would they
We don't say that nobody is preaching anything. They are religious movements. They're not presenting the ultimate truth. And they're not practicing what they preach. Prabhupada would often meet with Christian missionaries. And he would say, we have no problem if you chant the name of Jesus Christ and follow the 10 Commandments.
Thou shalt not kill.
Prabhupada went to Iran in 1975. He was speaking to some mullahs. He told them, chant the name of Allah. Follow the Quran fully, not partially. So the problem is, you will follow religion as a formality. What is the real meaning of religion? The real meaning of religion, who knows the real meaning of religion? The real meaning of religion is to create this taste for sense enjoyment and taste for the Holy Name. Real proper religion is to cleanse the heart and attract you to the Lord. That is the real meaning of religion. Like many times people say, I'm a Christian, born again. I'm not a crazy Hare. Criticize Hare Krishna. So what's our answer? Our answer is, the essence of religion is to do the love of God and be away from sinful activity. Any religion can do that, that's fine. We are not fanatics. Is that right? Okay. Yes.
So, Guru Maharaj, like Krishna definitely is the Supreme Personality. And there are so many devotees that are scattered, both definitely in the spiritual world but also in the material world. But why Krishna says like only like very few know him to the core?
Where Krishna knows that everyone is not going to take to this path. Krishna knows only the most intelligent, sincere, Krishna consciousness, and one was not accepted. I gave an example. Prabhupada was giving a press conference. Someone said, "Your Krishna consciousness is so perfect, why isn't the whole fully packed?" Prabhupada said, frankly, he's selling diamonds. Only people buy.
The same question that would be asked.
A little louder.
The same question that would be asked is related to the same. In one of the books, it's written that the material manifestation is 1/4 of the spiritual manifestation.
Watch for the creation.
Yeah, whole creation. So material is only 1/4. The other is 3/4 is spiritual. So yes, the same question. And then still, why we are saying that very true? Does it mean very true from the material world?
Yeah. The spiritual things are liberated. But in order to make it understandable, we say a tiny portion of those who are conditioned.
So everyone who is in this spiritual world are pure devotees?
Yeah.
Evil.
No, the men are million times more handsome than the men here. The ladies are million times more beautiful. But still they are attracted only to Krishna.
Evil.
Not easy, not easy. And in the kingdom of God, you may not believe it, they all have aeroplanes also. These aeroplanes never crash. And they never run out of fuel. And they piloted themselves. That's true mythology. That's not. Anyway, that's not our selling point. Our selling point is the philosophy. Okay. Yeah. I have time for questions. Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, we hear this philosophy, but
It
frankly,
doesn't sink.
no, it sinks. But when will we become sincere?
Once somebody asked Prabhupada, how long does it take to become Krishna conscious? Prabhupada, you can become Krishna conscious in a minute or several lifetimes. So that decision is in your hand. Arjuna said in the second chapter, I am confused about my duty, please instruct me. And Krishna began to instruct. In the 18th chapter, Krishna said, do you hear this with an attentive mind? Is your illusion now gone? And Arjuna said, yes, my illusion is gone. And what did Krishna say? Now, do as you said, it's the appropriate. So Krishna gives us a choice. If we didn't give us a choice, we would complain, what is it? By force they're taking bhakti. So Krishna gives you free choice. Just like as a citizen of America, you have a free choice. Follow the laws and live by the law. More questions?
Maharaj, you mentioned that cleaning the heart, right? But really we are cleaning from the heart. And as we say that I am the spirit soul, the heart is the part of the body. Why I am cleaning the heart?
That means, that's a good question. We say heart is contaminated. We say that. What does it mean heart is contaminated? There are too many material desires in my heart. I want this, I want this, I want that. In other words, the heart is a sitting place of these desires. So we have to cleanse the heart. And once the heart is cleansed, that means our material desires are getting reduced. And the spiritual desires are That's what we say, cleansing the heart. Just like you don't like sitting in a dirty room. When it's dirty, you don't like it. So Krishna also wants us to clean the heart, so you come and recite over there. We have unlimited material to that, is that right? More questions? No more questions.
Thank you, Maharaj, for the wonderful lecture. You were mentioning like there are three kinds of association with the seniors, the equals, and like the compassionate one as well. But at the same time, you also hear like we can't just know what a Vaishnava from his externals. So like, should we really judge others? And if we have to, how do we do that?
Good question. Sometimes judging others is also dangerous. But so what's your question?
Like, should we really judge others? And if yes, like...
A certain amount of judgment has to be there. We don't say, accept Krishna consciousness blindly. Papa was completely against that. He said, ask the questions, study the philosophy. So a certain amount of judgment has to be there. And we are not blind followers. So, if you want to apply judgment, who is more advanced? You can. Yeah. A little loudly.
The pavarga and the apavargas, can you elaborate?
Overhead, work hard, which are like everybody is working very hard, and they work hard, and what happens? What comes out of the mouth? Food comes out of the mouth. And then ultimately work hard. And then mritya. So the different phases. Yes.
You said that we should not blindly accept the authorities.
No, I really can't. Yeah, the question was, how do I recognize who is more advanced?
Well, what does it mean by blindly following? It's like we have to accept everything what the Sastra says, what the Guru says, what the
We should accept everything that the Shastra says. The Shastras are flawless. All Shastras are free of any defect. If the Guru is saying exactly what the Shastras are saying, then you can follow it. If the Guru is saying something different, then you can reject it. If the Guru is not exemplifying what he is saying, then also he can be rejected. So therefore it said, you're not blind follower. If somebody is not going by Guru Sadhana Shastra, then we have the privilege to reject it. Okay, any more questions? Yeah.
How do we avoid fault finding? Because sometimes you are there and you hear conversations and you don't want to hear it, you still hear that the devotees are talking in a manner and then you think, oh, why they are talking. How do we avoid this kind of
Fault finding is deep rooted. We all like to think, I'm the best man, and you're the worst man. We all seem to rejoice when we find some faults. Am I right? Sometimes the faults may be genuine, which need to be corrected. But we should avoid fault finding instigated by envy and jealousy. It's not that if there's a genuine fault, you close your eyes. But it should not be instigated by envy and jealousy. I don't want this man to go up, so I'm going to spoil his name. It should be genuine. Okay, we'll take one more question then.
Guru Maharaj, so we have taken up through this Krishna conscious process and getting trained and practicing so that we remember Krishna at the moment of death. But even now, like Arjuna says, it's very difficult to control one's mind. And even when we take holy names every day, it's so difficult to control our mind. So how is it possible for us to remember?
It's difficult, but not impossible. And nothing is easy in life. You think leading a material life is easy. It's definitely easier in America than in India. But like in India, for example, there's so much pollution, so much water shortage. Even in America, there's so many misery. It's not that America is misery free. Like this year, they are projecting more forest fires than ever before. They have their own misery. You have people with mental disorders and so on. Basically, miseries are there everywhere. You know, Hollywood makes you believe that America is the land of everyone's dream. Even if you come to America's dream, you still have the miseries of life. Sevenfold misery. So basically, it's not just the sevenfold. Yeah, sevenfold. And these are unavoidable. Get out of the material world. But we are so attached with it. No. It's weak. Anyway, those who have embarked on this path, at least sincere, they have tried. The Prabhupada said, you take one step towards Krishna, he will take 9 steps towards you. You make a little effort, and Krishna will take a big long jump. Yeah. We just stay on this path. And Prabhupada created a very nice institution where you have so much association. Take advantage.